We're here at House of Heroes in downtown Oshkosh with the owner, Scott Dirks. And I was wondering if you could start off by just telling us a little bit about House of Heroes.
It's basically comic books, graphic novels, board games. That's the majority of what we carry. That's the main focus of the store. Back issues like old comic books, dating back to the 40s up through present day. We have posters, wall scrolls, pretty wide variety of stuff.
How do you start a comic book store? Like, how do you get started in a community like this?
I started working at Powerhouse Comics in Appleton. I think Bob Larson was the owner, and he hired me back in '91, I do believe. And at one point, he was going to open up another store in Oshkosh, and I became, asked to be partners in this store. And so we've been here, this is our 18th year. We just turned 18 this last September. When we first started the store, it was, probably 400 square feet. It was a really tiny store right off of Fulton. And, we had 4 boxes of back issues. We had, just one rack of comic books. And actually at the time, graphic novels. I don't want to say they didn't exist, but there weren't very many of them. Like now we have, we have thousands of different graphic novels here. And that's like the one way the industry really changed was that back then there was.
So they were just kind of starting off then.
Yeah, there was, they weren't the main focus of the store. It was like the weekly issues were a big deal back then.
What are some of your favorite superheroes?
Spider-Man's my favorite. When I was a little kid, he was the first comic book character I was really into. I really don't have a favorite anymore. I if the book is good, I'm more of a fan of writers now than the characters.
So then what are some of your favorite writers then at this time?
Like Brian Vaughan, who does Saga. That book is great. Scott Snyder, that does the Batman books. He does Batman, but he also does his own work also, which is really good. Kirkman's Walking Dead is really cool right now. He does a comic book called Invincible, which is a superhero book that's pretty interesting. Greg Rucka has a book called Lazarus right now. That's pretty much everything he does is excellent. Ed Brubaker's another guy. Pretty much he doesn't write anything that's bad.
With all these movies and TV shows coming out, like The Walking Dead, as you mentioned, and Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and all of Marvel's movies, how have these movies and TV shows kind of affected some of the things going on in the store, like sales or just books that people are buying?
Well, Walking Dead made a big difference because Walking Dead brought a lot of people that weren't familiar with comic books. It brought a lot of non-comic book people into the store. The Marvel movies, it doesn't affect sales all that much.
Really?
Yeah, it seems like kind of like the standalone books like Watchmen, V for Vendetta, Scott Pilgrim. When those come out, those really drive sales. The superhero movies don't really do a whole. Besides Batman does really well. It's fun to pick something up where you don't feel left out, and I think when you pick up Watchmen, it's self-contained. When you pick up Scott Pilgrim, it's basically 7 volumes and that's it. You can read those and you have the whole story.
What are some good stories or series right now for new readers to start picking up on?
Saga is pretty early in its run, so that's like pretty easy to get into. The Lazarus book, there's only like 4 issues out of that, and that's excellent. Like I said, Brubaker's new book, Velvet, which is kind of like a Mrs. Moneypenny from James Bond if she was like a secret agent. So she's a double secret agent. But so that I think that would be a good one to get into. Like DC just started all their books over a couple years ago, and Marvel kind of did this last year. So it's actually really easy to get into because most of the titles are only 12 issues in. So it's pretty easy to get caught up on just about everything right now.
Okay.
Graphic novels makes that really easy.
What do you think is a good story or comic series that you think would be the next good movie to come out?
Well, I think, and I keep bringing this book up, but Lazarus, the Greg Rucka book, I think would be I would be really surprised if somebody didn't pick that up. Saga is another one where I'm sure there's got to be people that are looking to turn that into a. Because I mean, it's basically Romeo and Juliet meets Game of Thrones meets Star Wars. So somebody's going to pick it up and make it into a series of movies or maybe a TV show. I think like a lot of books work better for TV shows than like Walking Dead makes like a great TV show. Like the movies, it would just be another zombie movie. I really think that's like you're probably gonna see more TV shows than movies at a certain point.
Thank you for your time, and House of Heroes is on Main Street in downtown Oshkosh, so feel free to stop on by and say hello to Scott.
407 North Main Street.